So we've got a jam-packed show for you today. A couple of things that I want to talk about before we get into the main topic of the show. As you know, that I did promise you guys that we will be doing a fans reveal of 11s for the Australia series that is happening at the end of this month. So today's show is all going to be centered around that specifically. But I think what I'm going to do is, and I started a little bit earlier because obviously South Africa is load shedding again, and that obviously will affect the amount of time that we can stream over here. But what I'm going to be doing is first introducing you guys to the new SA20 season 2. There was a kind of a launch for the second season that took place. I'm going to read you guys the press release and what they said in the actual at the actual launch. Give you guys the fixtures as well, and then we will get into the main topic of discussion today. um and we'll obviously get into the reveals of your 11s, because I really wanted to get your thoughts on the squad, which I didn't get to do yesterday because we were so busy trying to give you guys as much information about the squad selection. We played you Rob Walters' press conference, and we spoke about it. Myself and Lubabado actually spoke about it quite in detail, and we discussed every single topic. We tried to get the debutants to speak about the debutants and so many other things on yesterday's show. So please go back and look at that if you want to get some extra information about our thoughts. And I think the live chat is obviously a playback, so you can see what the fans had to say. But today's show is going to be centered around your 11s, and I want to read your comments and I want to see what you guys have to say about the squads. I will read the squads out for you once again at the top of the show when we get into that section of the video. But before we get going, before we get started, there's a couple of things that I need you guys to please do. First and foremost, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification bell. We're on the road to 4,000 subscribers. We're almost there. I think we only need about 50. So please go and share this with as many people as possible so that we can hit that target, and take things forward. So we almost on 4,000 subscribers currently. Then I'd also like you guys to please download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. This is the main thing. This is what keeps everything going, guys. This is our main baby. It's our digital magazine. It's completely interactive on your tablet, on your computer, and on your phone. So, and it's 100% free to subscribe and get every single back issue, including the current issue. So the link is on the screen as well as in the description for you guys to get that free edition. This issue was very interesting because we spoke about the future is now and where South African cricket is currently sitting with regards to everything that has happened in our country, with everything that has happened in cricket so far. So this is an opportunity for you guys to actually go and see what we've compiled to explain to you guys where we are sitting currently in this cricket marketplace, what everything that is happening with regards to the teams and the players that won different awards. So go ahead and check that out, please, guys. It will really help us out. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have selected for the Australia tour. Who you happy about, who you're not. I would like to read out your comments and maybe give some responses to them as best as possible. So let's get into it. Very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host, Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. And today we're going to be covering two things. First and foremost, I'm going to be reading out the press release from SA20 about season 2 and the fixtures. Obviously, the fixtures have been released for this particular series. So we'll go into that and I'll read the press release out for you guys. And then we're going to move on to onto your Australia squads, and or your Australia 11s, and what you guys think should happen with regards to the different matches, who you'd like to see in the T20 side, and in which game as well. If you want to give a team for the first two or a team for the first one, there's no rules really. But I would like to see what you guys have to say for the ODI side and then also for the T20 side. Who you're happy to see in the sides and then in the squads and who you are not. But let's first start with the SA20 fixture release, and I will give you guys in some. I'll read you guys the press release on about this particular release that came out today. They had a little event in Johannesburg, so I'll read out what they sent to us as the release. So Beto SA20 is set to light up summer with SA season 2 kicking off on 10 January 2024. Playoff structure, revised midweek timings amongst new features in bumper 34 match schedule released. Okay, so Betway SA20 is back and ready for another summer of world class cricket and entertainment in anticipated season 2. South Africa's best talent, along with the world's top cricketers, will once again be on show in 34 matches across 6 venues around the country, starting on Wednesday, 10 January, culminating with a final on Saturday, 10 February. Each team will host a home match in the opening week, bringing to life the fierce contests with city based rivalries amongst the 6 Indian Premier League owned teams. Defending champion Sunrisers Eastern Cape will open the season when they host Joburg Super Kings at St George's Park on 10 January for the first match of the action packed competition. Following the season opener in Gqeberha, Durban's Supergiants host My Cape Town in a coastal derby at Kingsmead on Thursday, 11 January, before Paul Royals and last season's runners-up Pretoria Capitals face off at Boland Park on Friday, 12 January. So I'll probably be there at that game, guys. The Wanderers will kick off a bumper opening weekend when JSK and MI Cape Town go head to head at the Bull Ring on Saturday, 13 January at 1:30 before the Sunrisers tackle TSG at St George's Park at 5:30. The fast-paced action then moves to the nation's capital, where the Pretoria Capitals welcome the Paarl Royals to Centurion for new 5:30 Sunday start. MI Cape Town will host their first home match at Newlands on Tuesday, 16 January, against champions the Sunrisers. The league announced a new playoff structure for season 2, with a qualifier 1, an eliminator, and a qualifier 2, setting up the road to the final. So it's exactly like the IPL. The top 2 teams will play each other in qualifier 1, followed by eliminator between the third and fourth place teams. The loser of qualifier 1 and winner of the eliminator will battle it out for qualifier 2 for a chance to book their place in the final against the winner of qualifier 1. All midweek matches will now start at 5:30, giving fans an opportunity for a post-work and post-school feast of cricket during the week. The fixtures were unveiled, and that's going to be tricky though, because I know a lot of people actually only to come from town. If people are in town and coming to Newlands, for example, or they're in Joburg and they finish work, the 5:30 start is going to be a tricky one because people will have to actually leave work early, extra early to get to the game. I would have suggested maybe a late night start, like a 7 o'clock start, maybe into the late evening. The 5:30, most people are only going to get the second half of the games from a time perspective, but yeah, it is what it is. The fixtures were unveiled in Johannesburg and attended by Betway SA20 League Commissioner Graham Smith, players from the franchise teams, key stakeholders, and the media as the excitement builds towards 10 January. With the season 2 auction around the corner, the momentum is building and we are thrilled to announce these fixtures, League Commissioner Graham Smith said. We have a jam-packed opening week of matches which will captivate fans around the country. We had been i- uh, we have been intentional in giving families, friends, and our new fans an opportunity to watch as many matches as possible, with midweek fixtures starting from 5:30 and weekends providing prime summer evening viewing. It was fantastic to see all the fan support in year 1. Fans can mark their calendars and expect to see more of what they experienced last summer. the same vibe, entertainment, and world class international and local talent in season two. All matches, once again, will be broadcasted live on seven different channels, basically Supersport in Sub-Saharan Africa, Viacom 18 in India, Sky Sports in the UK, Fox Sports in Australia, um, Etzilat in UAE, and the rest of the world via ICC TV. Interesting. Fans can also follow the action on all Betway SA20 social media channels with live updates and unparalleled coverage of all 34 matches. Okay. In South Africa, the SA20 season India, which is a key 31 million people reached and 104 as the 19-player roster at the auction on 27 September. So here's the SA20 fixtures for you guys. Let's just zoom in a little bit for you so you can see it a little closer. You guys can go to cricketfanaticsmag.com to get this as well. These on our website. So I'm just going to slow it down a little bit for you. You can screenshot, you can do what you need to do um, to actually get this video and obviously get the fixtures if you're a bit lazy to go to the website. Um, so yeah, that is for that New Zealand series, which I was worried about, and clearly that's going to happen. Um, so that's a bit of a interesting one. Okay, so let's go to the crux of today's show. The main reason I'm here today was to get your 11s and see what you guys have to say, because yesterday I didn't really get an opportunity to read out your comments. We were so busy trying to listen to the audio and obviously give our commentary on Rob's press conference. So today's your show. Today's your opportunity to tell me what you think of the squads. Now the squads are as follows. If you did not come to yesterday's show, then I'm going to read them out again for you. In the ODI series, the Proteas squad is Temba Bavuma, Deva Previs, Gerald Coetzee, Quentin de Kock, Bjorn Fortuin, Risa Hendricks, Marco Jansen, Heinrich Klaassen, Sasanda Magala, Keshav Maharaj, Aidan Markram, David Miller, Lungi Ngidi, Anik Nokia, Debrey Shamsi, Wayne Parnell, Kagiso Rabada, Tristan Stubbs, and Rassi van der Dussen. And in the T20I squad, it's a 19-man squad. And then in the T20I series, we've got Aidan Markram, Temba Bavuma, Matthew Bretsky, Deva Previs, Gerald Coetzee, Donovan Ferreira, Bjorn Fortuin, Risa Hendricks, Marco Jansen, Sasanda Magala, Keshav Maharaj, Lungi Ngidi, Debrey Shamsi, Tristan Stubbs, Lazard Williams, and Rassi van der Dussen. And the reason why there are some names missing in that T20I squad is because they're going to be arrested for the ODI series because of all the games they've been playing around the world, etc. So let me get into the comment section and read out your comments and see what you guys have had to say. Kani saying, Khalid, I'm back. Welcome back, Kani. Good to see you again. Amit saying, top seven should be the Kok, Pavuma, RVD, Markram, Klaassen, Miller, Janssen. Rest four, they need to shuffle to give chance to most of the guys and finalize who misses out for the World Cup. Now, Rob did say in the show, we spoke about it yesterday on the show. And Rob did say that this is an opportunity to give a lot of youngsters a chance to play, which I didn't expect. Actually, I thought they're going to try and play their best possible teams, and actually get them ready to build some momentum towards the World Cup. But he said that he's going to give some people opportunities. Tabo saying, I have a question. Why is Ethan Bosch being continued to be ignored by SAA, SA merging, and the national team? My friends from around the world who watch the last SA20 asked me where he is. So Ethan Bosch is an interesting one because he's been in on the names of many people's lips for a very long time. He's been a name on many people's lips for the last few years. And I remember with the Global T20s attempt to bring things, he was also one of the players that was picked. But last season was kind of his breakthrough season, if you're going to talk about it, and it was the SA20 that really showed. Um, gave him the boost, and more people obviously got to know who he was in that SA20. With regards to the 4 day competition, he did pretty well in that 4 day competition as well. So domestically, he obviously needs to play more games. Now, being in Durban, it's very difficult to get games as a seamer, particularly if you're not a fast bowler that can bowl the 140s and 145s, 145s and 150s. So I think the reason why they maybe not giving Ethan a chance is mainly because of the space. I think this is my opinion at the moment, and I maybe think that he needs another season just to show what he can do. So I think domestically he needs to play more games and obviously play more consistently. I see that the Pretoria Capitals have also brought his brother Corbin Bosch into the mix. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a shootout between the two of them. But I mean, the thing that Corbin has over him is the pace. Um, Ethan is not the fastest of bowlers, so that is something that they might not look at. I think it could have possibly been between Gerald Coetzee and someone like Ethan. If you're looking at the rest of the players, so I think that pace has a lot to do with it. Um, and whether he'll be able to, because he doesn't necessarily move the ball as much as like a Bayer Swanepoel, for example. But he's a very good bowler and he can bat a bit as well. But let's see what happens with him. I see that what I've seen by the selections that have been taking place recently for SAA, emerging, etc. They tend they it seems like they are tending to give people opportunities that have played domestically or have been outstanding in their SA under 19 setups. So they're trying to give a balance between trying to reward people that have consistently performed at domestic level, and then also give people opportunities that they think are future stars. So I think there's been a balance of that recently that I've seen. I don't think the coaches have a problem with him, Tabo. You ultimately you can't select everybody. Um, so there's going to be people that are going to miss out opportunities. Ibrahim saying, "Hi Khalid, which four players do you think will miss out on the final 15 for the World Cup?" I think it will be Ngidi, Kutsia, Fortain, and Riza. Um, it's very possible. I mean, what you're saying there does seem right. I do think that you see, Riza hasn't necessarily been consistent in the ODI format. I know he's played a lot of games, but he hasn't necessarily been the same player that he is domestically in the one day cups. Um, when it comes to that squad, um, I'm just looking through this now. I don't think Bjorn will miss out. To be honest, I think Bjorn will be, but Keshav's also there, and Keshav's might be will be fit. So I think Lungi will miss out probably, because he hasn't necessarily been favoured by the national coaches currently. Um, I don't think Deva Brevis will be selected for the ODI World Cup. To be honest, so that's another one. That's two. Um, Riza Hendricks will be three, and it's very likely that Gerald Gutierrez will be the other one that won't make it. Yes, I think so. That's who I think will probably miss out on the ODI World Cup. It's not that I don't want to see Deerwald. It will obviously depend on the series. So I think we can make that call maybe after we watch them play in the series. Lawrence says, I'm going strong for the first two ODIs. Pavuma, Quinton de Kock, Van der Dussen, Markram, Klaassen, Miller, Jansen, Maharaj, Rabada, Nokia, and Shamsi. Riza says, de Kock, Pavuma, Rassi Van der Dussen, Markram, Klaassen, Miller, Jansen, Magala, Maharaj, Rabada, and Ngidi. I like all of these teams that you guys are selecting. Lawrence says for the next two games, I'll go Bavuma, Quinton de Kock, Riza, Markram, Klaassen or Muller, Brevis, Parnell, Fortain, Kutsia, Magala, and Ngidi. For the final game, I'm picking whoever needs more game time. Okay, Ibrahim says the Cock, Bavuma, Van der Dussen, Markram. Oh, you just numbering it for me. Okay, thank you. Miller, Klaassen, Brevis, um, Magala, Maharaj, Rabada, and Nokia. Tabo, I'm not a fan of the 5:30 start. It's peak rush hour, but we have to be grateful. The CPL, yeah, I said that about the AC20 as well. I think that 5:30 is a crazy start, no matter where you are. I think maybe the only place that probably it will be okay is probably in St George's Park. That might be okay. I'm not so sure about Durban. But I know that Joburg and Centurion is going to be a nightmare, and Newlands is going to be a nightmare because a lot of people only get work off at work at 5, 5:30, and then they need to rush home, which is like it's almost like an hour and a half in traffic or an hour in traffic minimum. So by the time they get there, they're only going to be ready for the second innings. So they're only going to spend 2 hours at the stadium ultimately. Risa says, not sure I'm a fan of Shamsi's control, Lawrence. Waka saying, hi, Khalid and everybody. How's it, Wakas? Welcome back again. Hunain says, in my opinion, playing 11 versus Australia has to be as close to likely World Cup 11. And in my opinion, best 11 out of the squad is Quinton de Kock, Temba, Rassi, Markram, Klaassen, Miller, Janssen, Keshaf, KG, Sasanda, and Nokia, and Shamsi. Yeah, that's what I would have said as well. I also thought that they would go with something that is a little bit more close to the World Cup and get those players to get some momentum, to build some momentum. Because a lot of us said that I mean, some people I saw, there were some fans that actually said online that they wouldn't mind South Africa actually being in the qualifiers because then it will give us, because we play we don't play a lot of cricket. And what happens at the end of the day is that they wanted us to place a lot of games leading into the World Cup to get some momentum, and that's why they wouldn't have mind us being in the qualifiers, which is one interesting opinion to look at. But seeing that we don't get a lot of games, I would have liked our World Cup 11 to the best World Cup 11 that we have, um, and give them an opportunity because there are positions in the 11 already that is a little bit there's you could say there are question marks over them. So, for example, the number 7 position, we can try new players, especially the new players that we have available. They will probably play in that position, in that 7 position, like Brevis, or you can probably say Stubbs as well. They can get opportunities and rotate between them at 7 to see and find the best players. But I would like to see those new players play with the experienced players so we can see how they work together. And because we're trying to find that spot before the World Cup. If we're gonna go with new guys now in the ODI era World Cup, I think it's a bit too close to the World Cup for us to do something like that. Lawrence saying, I get you, but those Indian surfaces, we will need a wrist spinner. Hence, I'll give him game time. Or you talk about Shamsi against Australia because Shamal will be important for us in India. Gaurav, what about Linda? Yeah, it's unfortunate he hasn't been selected. Um, he hasn't been, he's not part of the squad. So we have to pick from what the squad we have available. Um, Lawrence, looking at the form of Miller and KG and them being likely starters in the World Cup 11, both of them need game time. Lawrence says, I don't think it's a quality with Ethan. He's still young and needs another season of domestic cricket, in my opinion. Also, our bowling stocks are quite good at the moment, so it will be difficult for him to break through. Yeah, I don't think it's about a lack of quality either. For me, um, I think it's got to do with pace at the moment. I think it's the same for Bayer Swanepoel as well. I think it's got to do with pace. I think we are looking for bowlers that have raw pace. And there aren't many of them in the South African circuit currently that have remained fit either. A lot of them have been injured and haven't had a consistent season last season. They've been very sporadic and they haven't necessarily had a lot of game time. So Jerry Kutsia raw pace is always going to, I think people are always going to prefer make that the preference over anything else. Lorenzo says, great to see Kesh back, Hardy. You know I love Linda, but having Kesh back is gold for us. The guy is proven and has an abundance of experience which you need at the World Cup. I support all our players and 100% correct, and I second that. I think we need to keep in mind that who is going to be the World Cup. It's going to be 15 plus 3 reserves. So out of the 19 players, one is to be left out. I think it's going to be a fast bowler who is going to be left out. Um, Lorenzo says that bowling all rounder spot is between Parnell and Marco Jansen. I personally will go with Marco as he gives you more with the bat, but Parnell has been great of late, so it's very um, tough call to make. And I think also Sasanda Magala is in the mix there too for that. Riza is in his last 5 games made 3 scores of 50 and above. He's been the backup batter for the past year and a half. Hunain says, in my opinion, Riza, Brevis, Pani, and Bjorn are going to be reserves, and either Gerald or Sasanda will be left out from the 18 going to the World Cup. Hunain says, I think Nokia ahead of KG if we were selecting an ODI 11 right now, keeping in mind Indian pitchers' pace. Yep. Kyle Naidu says Quinton de Kock, Bavuma, Rassi, Markram, Miller, Klaassen, Janssen, Maharaj, Rabada, Nokia, Shamsi, Brevis, Riza, Magala, and Parnell. Um, Tabo says Maharaj is being rushed because they have issues with Linda. Linda is the bowling all rounder who we need in the squad. We need to start putting our feelings aside and select players on merit. Um, I don't know what the issues are with George Lind at the moment. Um, I mean, domestically, he was decent in the 4 days. One days he was okay. T20s he was okay. So I think another good domestic season, they can't ignore him. After another good domestic season, definitely. And if he has a good SA20 as well, I don't think they can ignore him anymore. Um, Guys, I'm only going to be able to give you guys a 30-minute show today because it's load shedding and this computer is already dying. So it doesn't last that long without it being plugged in, unfortunately. So I'm going to read out all your comments and then I'm going to have to say bye to you guys because of that. The three that will most likely miss out will be Kutsia, Janssen, Parnell, and Fortain. I don't see us picking 2 all-rounders and 3 spinners for the World Cup, to be honest. And also, guys, the reason is because I think 7 o'clock for South Africans is probably the prime slot for me to do my live shows. I was thinking of going 5 o'clock, but we wouldn't have had the same interaction and the same amount of people live on the show if I did it that early. And that would have been before because we just had a unfortunate block for load shedding today at 6:30 till 8:30. So it's not the best time slot to have. It's like prime time for everybody. Um, that's when we will win the World Cup. Um, okay, you're talking about George. I hope Stubbs get a game or two at World Cup just to get the World Cup experience, says Wakas. Out of 19, only one will be left out in South Africa. 18 will travel to India, 15 plus 3 reserves. Who do you think will be the unlucky guy and who are the 3 reserves? I think the unlucky person will probably be Dervald. I don't know because in list A in ODI cricket, he hasn't really played much list A cricket. So that's the reason why I'm saying that. That's the only reason why I'm saying that. I think that he should go for the experience and he understands Indian conditions, etc. Um, selecting Brevis just before World Cup, I don't think it makes sense. Quinton de Kock, Rassi, Aiden, Klaassen, Janssen, Kesh, Anna, Magala, Parnell, reserves for Ten, Riza, and Rabada. I will go into my World Cup squad when we do that game a little bit closer to the World Cup. I don't want to really talk about that right now. I think it's I want to keep it for a show because just now say something now, then it changes again later on. So I'll do that closer to the show and reveal my 11 and my squad. Khalid, why do some people still seem to doubt Klassen? Twitter can be sometimes. I think we as fans should stop this age thing. We've seen to be very critical when it comes to older players. I think that I think the way we we think about the game and think about sport needs to be a bit more logical. Um, I think all logic goes out of the window and we start thinking with our emotions only. So I'm also trying to learn a lot more about things because we have to look at circumstances, we have to look at form, we have to look at balance in a team as well. We have to look at there's a lot of factors that we need to look at when it comes to selection. It's not just you just pick the best 11, 15 players and that's it. There's a lot to do with balance. There's a lot to do what is needed, the conditions you're playing in, who complements each other, who brings a certain also included in that, but probably last on the list is how they integrate within the team culture. There's a lot of things we need to look at. The age thing for me is not important when it comes to when you have a player that is world class and is really great and he's older. Then I don't think age comes into the question. where age comes into where age gets questioned for me is when you're looking at a person that is already very skillful and you look at an average person that is older. That's when I have an issue with age because I'm saying then why not give that player that's younger if he's as just as good as the older player, right? And the only thing that's between them is the amount of games played. Integrating the youngster into the team earlier would obviously give him a lot more opportunity to become that great player and give him amazing experience early on so that he can become that world class player that we'll need and the main player that we need. So that's the only time I talk about age when I compare the two. When you're looking at someone like Klaasen's 31. He's not that old, and and at the moment he's probably one of our best T20 players at the moment. Right, that's just the facts of the situation with regards to form. No matter what tournament he plays in, he scores runs. When he plays for South Africa, he scores runs. He's only really struggling in the test arena currently. So, like for example, in the test arena, you have him, and you have Calvin. Who would you rather like to see struggle? That's my question. If you're going to have two players and you know both of them are struggling, who would you rather like to see struggle, the youngster or the older player? That's when age comes in for me. But when it comes to a world class player like Klaasen, and you want to, and then we say, oh no, but the youngster should also play because of his age. That's where I think it's a bit flawed. Um, is Eric Simons coming in as a bowling coach? If he is, then what role Pete Porter is going to play in coaching staff? That's an interesting one. I thought Pete Porter was part of the squad. Or did we say did he say yesterday in the thing that Simons is coming in? I don't know. I don't think SA have still figured out who their number 7 and 8 is this World Cup will be. Don't think Previs can bowl more than 2 overs and Janssen batting is more number 9. I do I'd go for Kyle in Test Arena to be honest, says Lorenzo. Yeah, so we will discuss that a little bit later. But that's my thoughts on the age thing. Yeah, so just to summarize, obviously I think that I would have gone with a best 11 and then given or have a rotation policy for that 7 position and see who can perform under pressure because you get an opportunity and you need to go score runs because it's ultimately a shootout for that 7 spot. I think our number 8, Marco Janssen can play there, Magala and Wayne Parnell. We've got 3 8s currently. Even though I like Janssen, I think he can play at 7. I do believe that um, he's more of an 8 currently and he's still developing to become a 7. I think there's still some work to do there ultimately. And he's still young, so you'll learn a lot from that experience. I would like to see them rotate between stubs and let them see them bowl, and obviously Dewald as well, and see him bowl, and also um, in that T20 squad as well. Someone like Donovan Ferreira also get opportunities. Also, Matthew Brzezinski get opportunities. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think they'll probably experiment more in the T20 arena, and I'm hoping that in the ODI arena they're going to pick close to the best team and get them some momentum going into the World Cup. But guys, I'm sorry I have to cut this one short, and it's a shorter show today. We will continue those discussions on shows leading up to the. We know we do preview shows before the games and all of those type of things, so we'll have plenty of time to talk about these squads and all of those type of things on the next show. I'm sorry that it's load shedding here and that I have to end it short before this dies and I can't end the broadcast. So thanks a lot for everybody for watching. Please don't forget we're trying to get 4,000 subscribers. We're almost there. We're like 50 odd away. So please subscribe and click that notification bell for all future videos. Also, download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The latest issue is on your screen right now. If it can show. So please go ahead and download that. All back issues are free as well. Um, And I would also like you guys to please become a Patreon. The link is in the description. That will help keep us going, etc. We might be able to down the line then get better content, a producer down the line. If you guys get involved with the Patreon account, you guys actually fund everything that we are doing here at Cricket Fanatics Magazine. So please support us on the Patreon account. Good night, everybody. Sorry that it's such a short show today. I will see you guys again tomorrow with another daily show. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace out.